first thing Emily saw were the scars, deep weathered marks crawling up, the man's neck disappearing under the stiff collar of his jacket. The flight attendant was already leaning in, her voice firm but polite, telling him his seat assignment had been downgraded. The man nodded, silent, though his eyes flickered with something between pain and acceptance. Passengers averted their gaze. No one spoke up. Emily felt her chest tighten. She could stay silent, too. She could let him shuffle down the aisle to the cramped row at the back. But as he turned to move, she rose from her seat without a word and stepped into his path. "You take mine," she said, simply. Her voice carried no drama, no self-praise, just quiet insistence. The veteran hesitated, his burned hands curling slightly as if in used to kindness, but she smiled, guiding him toward the plush first-class seat she'd just left behind. He never said his name. She never asked. For the next 3 hours, Emily sat pressed between two strangers in the back, knees aching, tray table crooked. She didn't mind. She told herself she'd forget him in a week. She didn't know that what she'd done would come back to her in a way that would change everything. Emily was no stranger to hard work. Her farm sat miles from the nearest highway, the smell of tilled earth clinging to her clothes even after sunset. Days were long, nights were cold, and she wore the fatigue like a second skin. The world rarely noticed people like her. She didn't expect it to, but the veteran, he had once been noticed. Too much in the worst way. His service had left him, with scars you could see and more you couldn't. In quiet hospital rooms, he had gripped the hands of dying friends. In burning streets far from home, he had run into danger while others ran away. Now he returned to a country where people looked away, uncomfortable in the presence of his sacrifice. The flight had been just another moment in a long pattern of silent endurance for him. For Emily, it was just a seat, or so she thought. Point 2. Weeks later, before the sun had even burned the morning mist from her fields, Emily heard the sound. Engines, many of them, rumbling up the dirt road. She stepped onto her porch, coffee mug in hand, as a line of dark SUVs rolled to a stop by her gate. Doors opened in unison. Men and women in uniform stepped out, their posture straight, eyes steady, her heart skipped. She'd done nothing wrong. So why were they here? The man from the plane emerged from the middle SUV. His jacket was crisp now, his posture taller. The burns were still there, but today they didn't seem to weigh on him the same way that he walked toward her, slowly, stopping just a few feet away. "You didn't know me," he said, "but you treated me like someone worth noticing." Behind him, the soldiers shifted, some carrying boxes, others with tools. Without asking, they began moving toward her barn, her fences, her weather-worn roof. Emily watched in stunned silence as the repairs began. Boards replaced, fences straightened, a roof reshingled. Under a wide-open sky, they said, "No one ever stands up anymore." The veteran continued, his voice steady. "But you did, and we don't forget people like that." The word stayed with her long. After the last SUV disappeared over the hill, she stood in the yard, hands still, dirty from helping, her chest heavier, but warmer somehow. She had given up a seat on a plane. They had given her something far greater, the reminder that small acts ripple wider than we can see. That night, with the smell of fresh cut wood and new shingles still in the air, Emily sat on her porch and whispered to herself, "Kindness always comes home. One seat," she thought, "can carry someone 1,000 miles. One choice," she knew, "can bring the world to your door To everyone hearing this, remember, silent heroes walk among us every day. Sometimes they wear uniforms, sometimes they wear work boots. The question is, when the moment comes, will we see them? If you believe stories like this matter, share this one with someone you care about. Leave a comment telling where in the world you're watching from. And join this channel so together we can keep honoring those whose battles aren't always seen, but whose courage is always felt.